Everybody, and welcome back to Betty and Leon. Today's episode, we're just going to be catching you up on all the things that we've been doing lately since it's been raining and we can't really progress with the 808. But first, let's venture to have a look at poor old Leon. He's been sitting here since the last HRCC event, and I kind of figure it's time to fire him up. So let's go jump in and see what his cold start capabilities actually are. Now, like I said, I haven't had the car running for near on, it'll have to be a couple of months. So just disconnect the charger and we will see what we're going to get. I actually don't know. So let's take a look. We've just got to crank him first to get the oil pressure up. It's got a system on it that will not fire the fuel pump until you get about 20 psi of oil pressure in it, which that's what the gauge is reading, but I would assume it would actually be higher oil pressure. So let's give him a crank. Maybe it'll fire, maybe it won't, just depends on if it's got fuel in the fuel bowl. So battery's good. And you'll see that the light over there didn't come on, which is the fuel pump. So the oil pressure should start to come up now. Let's have a look. Okay, there we go. See, so now we've got you can hear the fuel pump priming. I'll give him a little dab on the accelerator now. Let's give him a crank. There we go. So fired first time off the key, which is pretty good for a couple of months. Pretty good for a race car too. Means your engine is pretty healthy. And I'm going to gas myself out in here, so I won't do this for long, but always good to see good oil pressure and idling like a champ. So I'm going to switch that off, otherwise I'm going to die of carbon monoxide and pre-mix, which probably wouldn't be the worst way to go. So moving on to poor old Betty. She's also been sitting in the garage for the best part of probably a year now without the gearbox in it, but we now have a gearbox back. Let's go have a look at that real quick. So it's a straight cut gear set and it's been beautifully sandblasted and made to look nice and special and nice and clean. So we've got a new set of ratios in there that we're going to try out. I'd tell you, but then I don't want you to come and beat me, so you know, that's how the race car life goes sometimes. But we also have a diff, because remember we blew up the 4.4 diff at one of the meetings, and we've now got it back as well. So I'd tell you the ratio on that too, but you know, I don't want you to come and beat me. That's the point about this race car stuff. Got to keep some of the secrets for yourself, although we do give a lot away, let's be honest. But under the car we're going to be putting the diff in. I actually I went and got some titanium studs, because through the COVID era, not sure whether you guys know or not, and a lot of guys, there's a bit of conjecture over it, but I actually found it to be true, was that the material coming out of all the different places in the world was not as good as what it previously was. And I especially found that with studs and things like that. Like, you're not talking those bolts up on the diff too much. You're talking them up to like 14 foot-pound, 14 and a half, according to Mazda. And they were starting to strip out at 14 foot-pound, which is ridiculous. So I ended up going and getting a set of titanium studs for it, only because I don't want to be swapping things around all the time, and you can't afford movement in the diff, because that's basically what broke our diff last time. So, you know, sometimes you got to go to those lengths. But in saying that, it's like $8 a stud. You know, I'm not spending a huge amount of money. I'm just making sure that it doesn't break next time, because I don't really want to spend that time. And there's the gearbox hole where the gearbox usually sits. Look at this. Oh, it's been sitting so long, it's got mold. Mold on my tacho. That ain't good. So I guess I'll have to do a little bit of a clean up. One thing that I've realized these last couple of months is just the amount of moisture that's in the air, guys. It's making everything rust. All of your stuff, your parts that are sitting in the shed over here. You know, even little things like the yoke on the tail shaft. All that stuff is just rusting up. So keep your grease and not your grease. Well, keep your grease on it, yeah. But also, you know, some lubrication, like some inox or something like that. You know, even in our exhaust and our exhaust jig, and this housing sort of concerns me as well. I really need to put a little something on the front of that, but you know, parts and parts and parts. Can't afford them rusting away because we can't get them anymore. So let's go check out the Biohaz just now. Roberto's been doing a fair bit of work on the interior just to finish it. Actually looking pretty sweet. I'm digging it. You know, it's not meant to be a show car, but when you look inside, look what he's done. Maybe you can see through there, but check out the seats in this thing now and the interior. He's just gone balls to the wall with that. And we're just gonna sneak up on him because I know he's making, dare I say it, some baby seats. Not his babies, but to match. Oh, there he is. Motorbike's still here. Anybody who wants to buy that mad dog, hit him up. What are you doing, bro?
I'll just pause my music.
Yeah, you just pause that so we don't get a YouTube strike.
Yeah.
So you're
making baby seat covers. Seat covers for baby.
that are custom as you want. I just went and looked at the Biohaz.
Oh, okay.
And I'm suitably impressed, so I feel like others will be suitably impressed. Even the seat that you sit on is custom trimmed in the purple, so that's pretty cool. But the reason to come over here is our engine blocks. So because it's raining as well, we're gonna start stripping these guys down and getting all the paint off the engine blocks. So this engine's out of the coupe here. We've already begun stripping down carbies and things for that, so getting them bead blasted, and this is how they turn out. So they turn out pretty fresh looking. Got some little 12A manifolds there. That one's from Select Maz from back in the day. Check out the ports on that. Some secret squirrels for you. And this one was a Mazsport. So two different, let's have a look at the ports on those. Two different sort of, you know, setups there. One of them being the big monster ports that you got going on here, and the other one being a bit smaller, but both are tall ports because they're tall in the center plate. So yeah, interesting. And then you look inside, you know, some of them have got this sharp kind of edge and the other one does not. So all those little things help with flow. When you're porting your own, you just go with what you go with. You make up your mind what you think works and you give it a crack. So this engine here is the one that's going to go in Betty, so that's why I'm trying to get Betty rolling again, just so that we can get that engine going, get the side mount alternator on it. I've designed some new pulleys, which will be frigging awesome if they ever come to fruition. And yeah, we're going to give this guy a little tidy up and then get that engine in and take it to the dyno, because I want to be using Betty next year at Lakeside. That's the plan, because Lakeside is an awesome track and we want to go there. All right, I think that concludes today's episode. It's only a little update for you guys. Seems like every YouTuber does it. I'm just doing it because there's a lot of stuff that we don't film on camera because we're just too busy and it takes a lot of time for setup and camera work. So sometimes doing a nice little video like this just keeps you guys in the loop as to us not sitting around but actually getting things done, aside from a big episode on, you know, putting that engine in and taking it to the dyno, etc., stuff like that. So anyway, hope you guys appreciate it. Thanks for liking and subscribing. We'll see you next time.